Hey guys, in today's video, I'll be showcasing Luxray EX from the Twilight Masquerade expansion set. This has definitely become one of my favorite deck lists in the game. I guarantee you guys, if I can make it to Arceus League just by using this deck alone, you can too. As long as you can adapt to all the cards in this deck and really get to know on how and when to use them during a game, you can pretty much win any matchup you encounter. And even though there's a lot of cards in this build, it's really consistent, and I assure you, each and every one is very useful. So what makes this Luxray good? Well, even though Luxray is a stage 2 Pokemon, it's actually really simple to set up. Mainly with the help of Arven, which lets you search your deck for an item card and a Pokemon tool card, Pidgeot EX with its quick search ability, and the Forest Seal Stone tool card. With all three of these, you can pretty much find whatever card you need so that you can set up your Luxray EX. And once you've set up your Luxray EX, our main focus will be its first attack, Piercing Gaze. For 2 colorless energy, it deals 120 damage, but then your opponent reveals their hand and you discard any one card you find there. Of course, you can easily power up this attack with double turbo energy, but it does lower your attack by 20 damage. But 100 damage for a single energy attachment is really good already, since you'll also be able to knock out most basic single price Pokemon in the game. So ideally, you'll want to set up your Luxray EX as soon as possible, turn 2 if you can, then start disrupting your opponent's hand so that they have a difficult time setting up themselves, while you also deal damage, even taking knockouts along the way. And what makes this build even more disruptive is with the help of this Ace Spec card. If your opponent manages to knock out one of your Pokemon during their turn, it's really easy to disrupt their hand with Unfair Stamp. With this, both players have to shuffle their hand back into their deck, you draw 5, while your opponent only draws 2. And after attacking, Luxray EX can even remove one more card from their hand. Looking at the other Pokemon in this build, of course we also have Luxray V, more for its Fang Snipe attack. For 2 colorless energy, it deals 30 base damage. Then your opponent reveals their hand and you discard a trainer card you find there. Unlike Luxray EX's attack, which allows you to discard any card from your opponent's hand, while you can only discard trainer cards with this attack, this is still a great addition to this build. Since Luxray V is a basic Pokemon, it's easy to set up, you can use the Forest Seal Stone on it, and you can start disrupting your opponent's hand right away. Tatsugiri is great for searching out supporter cards, especially Arven. Manaphy is there to protect our Pokemon from bench damage. Rotom V is good for drawing extra cards, and also you can attach the Forest Seal Stone on it. Blood Moon Ursaluna is a great late game attacker which can hit for 240 damage for 0 energy, especially its ability reduces its attack cost by 1 colorless energy each time your opponent takes a prize card. And then there's Wellspring Mask Ogerpon EX. We'll be using this more for its sub attack. For a single colorless energy, it deals 20 damage, then you prevent your opponent from retreating during their turn. And just as an option, you can attach double turbo energy to power up this attack, which will then deal 0 damage. So you're pretty much just using this to trap your opponent's active Pokemon and possibly wait until they deck out. And finally, Radiant Alakazam is pretty awesome in this build as well, since it allows you to transfer up to 2 damage counters from one of your opponent's Pokemon to another one of their Pokemon. As you deal chip damage with Luxray EX, you can transfer some damage to their other Pokemon. Trust me, this thing is extremely useful in a lot of matches. And just as a side note, we're using this Shinx as Luxray EX's basic stage. While it only has 40 HP, it has 0 retreat cost, so this is a really great pivot option. As for the other cards worth noting, Roseanne's backup will be our main recovery since it can also recover special energies. Rescue Board and Kieran will be our switch options. And if you're behind on prices, you can use Define Span to increase your attack by 30 more damage. And speaking of damage, as a second option on Kieran, you can choose the effect to increase your attack by 30 more damage against an EX or V Pokemon. Penny and Professor Turo's scenario can remove one of your Pokemon from play. You can use either one of these so that you can remove your active Pokemon, especially if your opponent's trying to stall, or if you just want to prevent your opponent from getting a knockout. Judge and Iono are great for disrupting your opponent's hand late game. While I have a full set of double turbo energy, I also have 1 copy of Mist Energy so that we can prevent instant knockout scenarios, or at least prevent Dragapult EX matchups from knocking out your Shinx or Pidgey before you can evolve it into Luxray or Pidgeot EX. This can also prevent your opponent from devolving your Pokemon. Which, by the way, we also have the Technical Machine Devolution, allowing you to devolve all of your opponent's Pokemon in play by 1 stage down. If you inflict enough damage on their Pokemon which matches the HP of the pre-evolution stage, this may even result in multiple knockouts when you devolve them. And I also have a copy of Hand Trimmer in this build. This forces both players to discard cards from their hand until they only have 5 left. This card you can honestly replace with something else, probably with the Handheld Fan, but I would probably recommend just adding the Canceling Cologne so that you'll have a good counter against Mimikyu. You'll be able to turn off its ability and just knock it out. Lost Vacuum is really great in this build too, allowing you to Lost Zone any tool or stadium from play. And finally, we also have the Lost City Stadium, which can help lock out your opponent too if you can send their Pokemon into the Lost Zone each time you knock them out. this is really, really good. So that's pretty much my main list for Luxray EX. And as far as changes and options, if you want to be more aggressive, you can probably swap out Unfair Stamp for Neo Upper Energy so that you can use Luxray EX's attack, which deals 250 damage. Because you do already have other support options which can also disrupt your opponent's hand. But to be honest, Unfair Stamp is better in my opinion. I wish there was more room for Airy or Misfortune Sisters, but this deck is already pretty solid as it is. But yeah, like I said, some things that will give you a hard time is Mimikyu or matchups that use a lot of Temple of Sinnoh. However, I guarantee you, once you've mastered the mechanics of this build, you'll be winning a lot of matches. When I play this deck, I really get that sense of strategy. It's so much fun to play this. This is a very, very disruptive build, very powerful, competitive even. I highly recommend you guys trying out this deck. Anyways, that's pretty much it. You can find the complete deck list in the description below. And now please enjoy the following gameplay videos showcasing Luxray EX. Before we get into the video, I have a small request. If you're liking the content I create, please leave a like to this video and please support this channel by subscribing if you haven't already. This is a small click for you, but for me, it means a lot. Thank you so much for all of your support. Alright, on to our first match. My opponent will be going first here. They take a mulligan, which means we get to draw one extra card. Got double turbo energy. We're gonna start with a Luxray V in the active spots. And since we're going second, we can power up its attack. Start disrupting my opponent's hand, but our own hand, our opening hand is horrible, guys. I don't know how we're gonna win this. And we're going against Charizard EX. Oh man, this is a really bad matchup. I mean, we can win it, but Charizard EX just hits for a lot of damage. So with Buddy Poffin, they set up their Pidgey, Charmander, and with Nest Ball, Rono V, ending their turn with instant charge to draw 3. Now it's our turn. We can fully power up our Luxray V's Fang Snipe attack. We're hitting for weakness, doubling our attack damage to Manaphy, but we're still only dealing 20. I used Kieran thinking that it would increase our attack, but I forgot it only works against EX and V Pokemon. So Fang Snipe will still only just deal 20 damage to Manaphy. But that's alright. We get to look at our opponent's hand, and from the options, we could discard Professor Turo scenario. At least my opponent does not have Rare Candy, which means they will not be able to evolve into a Charizard EX this turn just yet. And leaving them with just Boss Orders and Iono. Hopefully they use Iono so that they can help us out of this horrible start, guys. Because ideally, you'll want to set up your basic Pokemon on your bench as soon as possible. Ideally, right? And there it is. My opponent uses Iono. Thank you. Hopefully we get good cards here. Radiant, Alakazam, Judge. Alright, Judge is helpful. It's a tad bit helpful. Both player shuffles their hand into the deck, and then both players also draw 4. Fortunately, my opponent gets Ultra Ball and evolves into Charmeleon, so they're one step away from evolving into Charizard EX. Got an Arven though. You know what? With 6 cards in my opponent's hand though, what I could do is use Judge. I am taking a little bit of a risk here, but that limits their hand to 4. Then we can use Luxray, probably prevent them from using any trainer cards to evolve into Charizard EX. So here we go. Fang Snipe, deal 20 damage to Manaphy once again. And, okay, Roxanne. Oh, no! Well, let's go ahead and discard Roxanne. The Judge actually helped them to get a Charizard EX. And with Charmeleon evolved, they could just evolve this turn. That's what I was trying to prevent. Oh, man. And having a full line with the stage 1 devolving this Charizard EX is not going to be easy, because even if we devolve, they could just reattach Charizard EX and then attack, use its ability again. That's very unfortunate, but yeah, Infernal Rain ability gets them the energies they need and they just attack. Fortunately, it only is dealing 180 damage for now. So our Luxray V does survive a turn. So with Arven, which I should have just done last turn, we're just going to use Buddy Poffin to finally set up our Pidgey and Shinx. And with the TM Devolution, we're going to save that until this Charizard EX is ready. We're just going to put as much damage as we can to it. until it's ready to get knocked out when we devolve it. And I'm just gonna grab Wellspring Ogerpon EX, because what I'm thinking of doing is probably trapping their Rotom V in the active while we set up as much as possible. And I can't use Ultra Ball right now because I'll need Arven and I need TM Devolution. So all I could really do right now is use Fang Snipe, deal 10, maybe discard the trainer card from my opponent's hand. Okay, we can discard Counter Catcher. Once again, they're left with Pidgey and an Energy. At least they don't have anything else, right? But they will be able to take a knockout here. 180. That will take out Luxray V. And my opponent gets to get their first 2 prizes. Alright, now they have 5 cards in their hand. Really, really bad. Okay, what to do? Well, we got Shinx to pivot into. Thanks to its 0 retreat cost, we can just retreat it. I can use Ultra Ball, but I need Arven and TM Devolution as well as Luxray. What I could do is just use Arven for now, get an extra tool card to discard. Rescue board I might need. And our 4 Seal Stone is prized. Man, alright. Anyways, let's go ahead and just use Ultra Ball for now. And our priority will be Pidgeot EX. Its ability is just so strong. Quick Search lets you search your deck for any one card and put it into your hand. So let's evolve into Pidgeot EX. Quick Search. Unfortunately, our hand is very limited. We can only really get Rare Candy, but no way for us to get an energy to start attacking this turn as well. So we might have to wait another turn again. Since I can't get either of those, what I could possibly do, I could grab a Rare Candy or an energy and hope for the best next turn. But what I could also do is just retreat into Ogerpon EX, take damage, and then I'm just gonna get Rotom V here, draw extra cards, and then hope for the best. Thankfully, Shinx can easily retreat, and we're just gonna end our turn here. Draw 3. Alright, we got Arven. Alright, that's good. Good. What I could do, use Buddy Buddy Poffin to set up another Shinx, because you want to just continue that lineup of Luxray EX while we prevent our opponent from setting up. They evolve into another Charmeleon and then just attack. Our Ogerpon EX survives. We've got double Turbo Energy. That's actually one less card we need to complete our setup here. And we're just going to continue to add damage to their Charizard EX. So now with Arven, I could use Rare Candy, and then Counter Catcher could actually help us out here. I'll get Rescue Board as well. We can retreat our Ogerpon EX, evolve into Luxray EX, double Turbo Energy to power it up. And with Pidgeot EX, what I could do is use Counter Catcher since my opponent has already taken a lot of prizes. We're behind. We can use Counter Catcher, gust up that Charmeleon, knock it out, and that's going to be one less Charizard EX we have to worry about, right? So, retreat, Counter Catcher their Charmeleon, and the DTE reduces our attack, but 100 damage is enough to knock out their Charmeleon. And then we can look at my opponent's hand, Piercing Gaze. Can discard any one card from their hand, and Ultra Ball, I think, is the best option. Then we get our first prize. Alright, not bad. Unfair Stamp. Alright, cool. That's even better. A lot of our cards are prized. This is... Again, the real enemy, guys, is RNG. If you can set up your Luxray, Pidgeot EX, and everything, you'll be fine. You can win almost any matchup you go against, but RNG can just kill you. But anyways, that's where we're at. So my opponent uses Arven. They get Choice Belt and Palpad, alright. And what I'm trying to do now, guys, is just prevent them from setting up any more Charizard EX or even Pidgeot EX, because Pidgeot EX can just grab them any card from their deck. So if we can prevent them from doing that, that would be awesome. Unfortunately, they got Buddy Poffin. They set up another Charmander, but hopefully Luxray can disrupt their hand. They're dealing 210 now because we took one prize already. Again, Charizard EX attack increases for every prize their opponent has already taken. So slowly but surely we're going to die. I'm just gonna get Lost City with Pidgeot EX for the meantime. I'm gonna sacrifice Luxray EX, but if we can prevent them from evolving into another Charizard EX, we'll have time to prepare another Luxray EX. So with Buddy Poffin, where are my Shinx? Are you serious? All of them are prized. Oh, this is horrible. And that's what I mean, guys. RNG is your greatest enemy with this deck. But anyways, whatever. I'm just gonna attack, and with the 3 cards left in my opponent's hand, I think Energy. Collapse Stadium could help us actually get rid of Wellspring Ogerpon as well, removing liability, so that's fine. I'll just discard the basic Energy and go from there. My opponent will knock out Luxray EX though, but we can use Unfair Stamp, leaving them with just 2 cards in their hand, hopefully nothing useful. And then we can devolve them while putting the pre-evolution of this Charizard EX in the Lost Zone with Lost City. So we can grab Energy with Pidgeot EX. Even if they knock out Luxray EX, we can use Pidgeot EX. Since it's also a pre-pivot, we can just easily retreat it. We could just do that. And then maybe keep using Counter Catcher and attack with Pidgeot EX, knock out their basic Pokemon, and then go from there. Alright, we got Professor Turo for our turn. So I'm going to just play Lost City for now. Attach TM Devolution to my Pidgeot EX. Quick search for Energy. And we're very limited. We'll have to recover our double turbo Energy with Roxanne, but at least we can power this guy up. I can Unfair Stamp. We get to draw 5 cards, so hopefully we can draw another supporter card. We can still use a support card this turn, so let's see what we get. Unfair Stamp. We get to draw 5. My opponent gets to draw 2. With limited draw support, hopefully that traps them. And we got Roxanne's backup. Perfect. Actually, let me get Shinx, because again, some are prized. If we don't get it from knocking out this Charizard EX, we'll have a guarantee that we have another lineup of Luxray. So let's go ahead and use Ultra Ball, get Shinx, and then retreat into Pidgeot EX, and Charizard EX actually has plenty of damage already, so let's go ahead and utilize Radiant Alakazam, transfer these damage counters to their Charmander, and I can use Palpad, it's fine. Get Roxanne and Judge, and we're gonna use Devolution. Alright, Devolve Charizard EX! Now their Charmeleon with only 90 HP gets knocked out, goes into the Lost Zone, and we get our prize. Alright, we got another Shinx. I will take that. Very nice. So now my opponent hopefully doesn't have a lot of choices. They will have 4 cards in their hand here. Anything is possible. Okay, another Charmander, and they're just gonna end their turn with Instant Charge. With 2 prizes left from my opponent, I can actually use Iono here. And keep disrupting their hand, prevent them from setting up any further. Hopefully, anyway, that's that's the whole goal. put Shinx in play, use Iono, we get to draw 4 cards at least. Okay, we got Penny. And we can still use Counter Catcher. Hey, let's go ahead and do that. We're gonna target their Charmander. Yeah, we're just gonna attack. Blustery Wind deals 100 damage. We have a choice to discard, but we're not gonna discard the Stadium, so that we can keep putting their Charmanders in the Lost Zone. We finally get Forest Seal Stone. We can attach that to Rotom V and evolve into a Luxray EX. And there it is, guys. We're winning. We're winning in a way. Well, my opponent is stalling, boss our Radiant Alakazam, and just use Rotom V to draw extra cards. But we got Penny. Penny, you're gonna save us. We can remove this Radiant Alakazam out of the active spots. We can use Forest Seal Stone to grab Rare Candy or Luxray EX, but we could also do that with Pidgeot EX. So yeah, we can definitely evolve here into another Luxray EX. Let's remove Alakazam EX or Radiant Alakazam. Pivot to Pidgeot EX. Quick search for Counter Catcher. I just don't want to forget. I could Counter Catcher again their Charmander because we're still behind our prizes. And we're just gonna Blustery Wind this turn. So no, we're not gonna discard our Stadium. And yeah, I'm just taking advantage of the Lost City, guys, because now my opponent is gonna have a hard time setting up another Charizard EX, if ever. But we do have the option of evolving into another Luxray EX. But regardless of what my opponent does, they are pretty much locked out of the game. They grab another Rotom V with Nest Ball. I'm assuming that their other Charmander is prized. So yeah, we're looking good. Let's see, what's the best way to win this game sooner than later? What I could do actually, see in Heavy Ball. Well, we got Shinx prized. Well, we can freely retreat Pidgeot EX. I could just continue to knock out their lineup of Pidgey, get boss orders, and then just win that way. Let's go ahead and use Quick Search. Or actually, what I could do is get boss's orders, use Star Alchemy to get Blood Moon Ursaluna EX. Excellent. My opponent still has 2 prizes left, so I could attach Double Turbo Energy. We could boss their Rotom V, get 2 prizes for it, and just win this game. There you have it, guys. Luxray EX. Wow, I can't believe we won that. Alright, cool. Good game. Alright, moving on to our next match. I'll have to mulligan. I have no basic Pokemon from my hand. 2 mulligans, in fact. Well, we got Shinx and Pidgey. Wow. Great start. We got Buddy Buddy Poffin. But that also means my opponent gets to draw 2 extra cards in their opening hand. And, alright, cool. They have Toedscruel. Let's go ahead and use Buddy Buddy Poffin since we're going first. This is all we can do. We can't attack. We can't use any support cards. And I'll get Tatsugiri. Leave 1 space open for either Rotom V or even Luxray V. And with this Ultra Ball, I'll just discard those 2 to get Rotom V. On my first turn, I could just draw 3 cards, and then that will end my turn. Alright, cool. So we got Luxray EX at least. Leaving my Shinx in the active. If for any reason my opponent can attack here, knock it out, we can use Unfair Stamp, actually. But we can also retreat our into Tatsugiri. We can use its ability to search out for support cards, and hopefully that's gonna help us to evolve into Pidgeot EX and eventually to Luxray EX. So the fact that my opponent has Toedscruel, this is a Toedscruel EX build, and it has an ability that prevents any effects of attacks against their Pokemon. So keeping that in mind, if any of their Pokemon with energies, or I think grass energies, we cannot devolve them. So it's a really great protection for them. We drew into an Iono though. That's actually not half bad. Alright, cool. What I could do is just retreat to Tatsugiri. It's gonna take more than one turn to set up my board here, I think. Got a boss orders. I could power up my Shinx and then just use Iono. And we got a rare candy and a Pidgeot EX. That's insane. Alright. I couldn't ask for a better hand, actually. And I could use Hand Trimmer now. Limit my opponent's hand to 5? Let's see. Let's go ahead and use Quick Search for now. And I'm going to grab Unfair Stamp. I feel like they're going to be able to evolve this turn. And then they can take a knockout against our Tatsugiri. So Tatsugiri is a great support Pokemon to help us get support cards. But with the limited cards that we have to switch out, it's actually pretty difficult to switch out Tatsugiri unless we get the rescue board to get it out of the active spots. But now my opponent has evolved into Toedscruel EX, a shiny pink one. And if they get grass energy, they can start attacking for a lot of damage. So Toedscruel EX attack depends on how many of their Pokemon have grass energies attached. So with a total of 6, I think it deals 270 damage, if I'm not mistaken. But they managed to evolve into Pidgeot EX. Now they can use Quick Search to search for any card from their deck. They got Legacy Energy, dealing 120 damage now that Toedscruel is able to attack. And Legacy Energy, if we end up knocking out Toedscruel EX, it actually prevents us from taking one extra prize, or one prize. So instead of 2 prizes, we'll only take 1 if we knock out Toedscruel EX. So let's see what we can do here. Use Pidgeot EX to get Arven, get Rare Candy and 4 Seal Stone. We can attach this here, and then we can get Luxray EX. Since we have double Turbo Energy in our active, we can start using this and start attacking, disrupt my opponent's hand, hopefully. But with that Pidgeot EX in play, that does... it's a great counter against our disruption here, because they can just grab whatever card they need from their deck. Let me go ahead and use Unfair Stand. That's fine. That's fine. That still limits their hand, though. Yeah, I mean, if we attack 100 damage, it's gonna take a little bit of work to knock out this Toedscruel EX, but we're just gonna do our best, guys. All right, 100 damage. Look at our opponent's hand, discard 1, so we'll get rid of Ogerpon EX. That prevents them from attaching energies to their Pokemon on their board, actually preventing them from increasing their attack damage output, so that's good. But with Pidgeot EX, they just grab Professor's Research and start drawing extra cards. And I guess that's the downside to Luxray EX, or a good counter if you can set up a good support Pokemon like Bibarel or Pidgeot EX. Luxray EX doesn't have as much impact against your opponent. So the key is to really set up your Luxray EX as soon as possible and disrupt your opponent as soon as possible so that they don't set up. Colony Rush is dealing 160 at this point, so man, a really strong attack. They can knock us out in their next turn, so we'll have to set up another Luxray here just in case. We have Rare Candy, double turbo energy to power it up. At least we have that, and we can use Arven to counter Catcher and Defiance Band. I think we can knock out their Pidgeot EX actually, because we're dealing 200 plus 3, 260. Well, 260 is good. Yeah, 260 is good. I'm alright with that. Let's go ahead and use our Luxray EX, but let me go ahead and use Palpad first to recover Roseanne's backup and Arven. Piercing Gaze, 260 because we're hitting for weakness. And Boss's Order seems to be the best option. Gardenia's Vigor, however, will help to energize their Pokemon. But that's... I think the lesser of two evils is Boss's Orders. That way, our other Luxray EX will not be bossed. Although Pidgeot EX could just grab one, I guess. But whatever. Maybe they don't have any more boss orders in their deck. I don't know. But yeah, that's what we're doing here. And what I could do is get Alakazam with Pidgeot, put it into play, move some damage from Toedscruel to Pidgeot EX, taking it out of the picture. And then all we have to do is deal with this Toedscruel EX. And then, yeah, we'll take out this attacker. They use Gardenia's Vigor, drawing to 2, but they don't have any more energies. So either way, they only get to draw 2. But with so many energies spread out, my opponent's Toedscruel EX is now dealing 240 damage. That's insane. Toedscruel EX is actually really, really great. But we're gonna get Radiant Alakazam, Painful Spoons, 2 damage from Toedscruel to Pidgeot, knocking it out, and that's gonna get us our first 2 prizes. Alright, not too bad. Yeah, Alakazam. Radiant Alakazam is so good in this build, guys. I've won so much just by manipulating the damage counters on my opponent's board. It's really, really great. I could use Professor Turo scenario to remove Luxray, but you gotta watch out on how much Rare Candy you use up, guys. So I'll just preserve it. Either way, someone is going to get knocked out. I'm gonna use Piercing Gaze to deal another 100 damage to their Toedscruel EX, and again removing their boss's orders from my opponent's hand. So with that, they can take a knockout against our Luxray EX. That's fine. Next turn, we can power up our other Luxray. Finally take out this Toedscruel EX. And go from there. go from there. So they take a knockout. Ooh, Blood Moon Ursaluna can actually be very, very useful here. It will still require a lot of energies to attack with it. But let's see what we could do. We could knock out this Toedscruel EX with 100 damage. So what I could do is just transfer 1 damage counter, just 1. Because we need 270 total damage on Toedscruel to knock it out. With Pidgeot EX, I'll get double turbo energy to power up our Luxray. Definitely a must. Put Blood Moon Ursaluna in play so that my opponent has to think about how to deal with that. We're just gonna knock out this Toedscruel EX finally. And let's see what we got. Rare Candy, that's not gonna help their Pidgeot. So Iron Leaves EX is the best option. That way, that will limit their attack option. We got Lost Vacuum from our prize. We only got to take 1 prize because of the Legacy Energy that was attached on their Toedscruel EX. But yeah, if they attack with this Sinistra, they have to discard up to 2... 140... No, 3. They have to discard 3 energies to get a knockout against our Luxray EX. but discarding energies also prevents them from attacking on their next turn. And if they take 2 prizes, we could use Blood Moon Ursaluna to just knock out their Pokemon. So with so many boss's orders in the discard pile, it's gonna help us out a bit where they can't get their last prize. So Blood Moon Ursaluna can attack for even just 1 energy next turn, and having 260 HP will actually help us to survive an attack or 2, hopefully. And we can use Professor Turo to remove it and keep attacking with it. So my opponent takes advantage of the opportunity, knocks out our Luxray EX, but Luxray has already done the damage, right? I'm going to counter Catcher their Ogerpon EX because it's the only one that can attack at this point. Grab Iono with Pidgeot EX, limit their hand to just 1, and with little or no draw options in their board, this is pretty much going to be an easy win for us at this point. So we get 2 prizes for knocking out their Ogerpon EX. And yeah, that's gonna be game. Well, you know what? We have to go through this Ogerpon because this one has the ability to block attacks from Pokemon with abilities. So it's nothing there. Buddy Poffin. Let's see what I could get here. Get another Shinx. Could try to set up another Luxray EX, but I could just grab a boss's orders. However, we can't attack with Blood Moon Ursaluna because the effect of its attack, we can't attack on our next turn after attacking. So you actually get 1 recovery period or 1 recovery turn before you can attack again with Blood Moon Ursaluna. But at least our Luxray EX is set up for next turn. It doesn't have an ability, so we could attack with it, and we could just target the Sinistcha to get our last prize. But if they can boss our Shinx or Pidgey, even if we just want energy, they can win this game. But we have discarded so many boss orders already. I'm hoping that they don't have any more. And with the limited hand that they have, thanks to our disruption, they might have little or no option at all. So they just retreat again to another Ogerpon, but again, we can't damage them with Ursaluna, but we can get boss's orders with our Pidgeot EX, and we can just target their Sinistcha to get our last prize, winning us the game. Alright, that game was not half bad. Good game. Alright, moving on to our next match. We're gonna start this one with a Rotom V. I won the coin flip this time, and I do prefer going first. And my opponent will start with Palkia V. There's really not much we could do except for instant charge to draw 3. Ideally, again, you want to set up your basic Pokemon. We don't have any cards in our hand to do that. So, alright. Thankfully, my opponent has not set up any other basic on their board either. But thankfully, we got Arven, so we can use Buddy Poffin, get Pidgey and Shinx, and Manaphy will be useful in this matchup for sure. Because having Palkia and Water Energies, it's not a good mix with Radiant Greninja. So we're gonna use that Manaphy in this matchup for sure. So we're just gonna use our Forest Seal Stone to grab another Arven for next turn, and we're just gonna use instant charge. So if my opponent manages to evolve into Palkia V-Star, its attack damage depends on how many Pokemon are on both players' bench. So with only 3 on our bench, only if they manage to fill up their bench, evolve into a Palkia V-Star, can they knock out our Rotom V. But with Ultra Ball, they're just gonna grab Radiant Greninja, and with the Concealed Cards ability, they can discard an energy card from their hand, draw 2 cards. And This looks to be a Gholdengo EX build, actually. So along with Palkia V-Star, Gholdengo, that's what we're dealing with. Alright. Thankfully, they didn't get to evolve into a Palkia V-Star, so we survive another turn. Let's go ahead and use Pokestop. We did discard Blood Moon and Luxray, but we already have one in our hand. We got a rare candy though, which is really awesome. So we get to evolve into a Pidgeot EX. Now we can start using our Quick Search ability. Thankfully, we got Arven last turn. I'll grab rare candy to power up our Luxray EX. And then we have double turbo energy already attached. And with Quick Search, I'm going to use Lost Vacuum to actually remove our Forest Seal Stone so we can retreat our Rotom V. Get rid of Pidgeot EX. And by doing so, we can put Rescue Board, retreat it to our Luxray, and then we can start attacking our opponent. And I can use Hand Trimmer actually to force my opponent to discard 2. We'll have to discard also, but at least some of these we know we can recover. So I'll get rid of our Pidgey, Iono, and Boss Orders. And then I'm going to play Lost City. So what I'm going to do is use Piercing Gaze. Since we are hitting for weakness, we're hitting for 200 damage. And Boss's Orders, I think. Oh, you know what? Let's go ahead and discard their Pokestop because we want to maintain our Lost City in play. We can knock out this Palkia V. They can't evolve into anything else. And by discarding Pokestop, that also prevents them from getting like Ultra Ball, evolving into a Palkia V-Star. So I think that was the best option. Although with Radiant Greninja, they could just draw extra cards, and they did get an Ultra Ball from that. So yeah. Either way, at least our Lost City is still in play. We can knock out their Palkia V-Star and then get 2 prizes, and at the same time putting this Palkia V-Star in the Lost Zone. They're going to use Star Portal ability, using up their V-Star power for this game. And they're dealing 160 damage to our Luxray EX. Alright, that's fine. That is A-okay. With that, I think I'm going to set up another Luxray EX lineup. Put an energy there, and then Piercing Gaze will knock out their Palkia V-Star. And let's get rid of this energy. So we got 2 prizes for that. Again, putting their Pokemon in the Lost Zone. And with just Boss Orders, all my opponent can do is boss one of our Pokemon. But they actually drew into an Iono. Bro. What are the chances of that? Okay. Gimme Ghoul goes onto the bench. And our Luxray lineup is gone. So I don't know what we could do here. Alright. Gholdengo pre-evolutions are on their bench. They managed to attach enough energy to Palkia, dealing enough. 200 damage actually is a lot of damage, knocking out our Luxray EX. So now what we could do here is put Luxray V in play. Use Palpad to recover Arven and Iono. And let's see what I could quick search for. Because I need an energy, but since my opponent knocked out one of my Pokemon, maybe Unfair Stamp can help us draw into Luxray and a rare candy, right? Hey, it did! Alright, I will take that. I will take that. Let me go ahead and use Ultra Ball, discard those 2 to get a Luxray EX. Evolve into Luxray. Retreat. And then we can use Piercing Gaze, dealing 200 damage. And then, once again, continue to disrupt my opponent's hand. And Earthen Vessel was the best option because for them to use the Superior Energy Retrieval, they need to discard 2 cards from their hand. Since they only have 2 cards in their hand, they can't use it. So what can they do? They retreat, sacrificing their Gimmighoul in the active spot. We drew into a double Turbo Energy. And yeah, Unfair Stamp is unbelievably awesome in this build, guys. I experimented with Neo Upper Energy, but Unfair Stamp I think is the best A-Spec card for this build. For now, I'm just going to use Piercing Gaze to knock out their Gimmighoul. Putting in the Lost Zone, we get 1 prize. And then we get rid of their Superior Energy Retrieval. They get Energy Retrieval though, but they could use that to draw 2 extra cards. Can they evolve into a Gholdengo? They got an Irida, alright. They can search their deck for 1 water Pokemon and 1 item card. Okay, they just got an Ultra Ball. They'll discard 2 cards from their hand to get a Gholdengo EX. They can draw 2 with this using coin bonus, but they won't have enough energies in their hand to knock out our Luxray EX. And they also need an energy to power up Gholdengo EX. So with Metal Energy, they energize it, but with no energies, they don't get to attack. And we're gonna put them in that state, hopefully. And then just prevent them from ever attacking, hopefully. And we're gonna prepare our TM Devolution. We can devolve this Gholdengo EX. And once we devolve it, their Gimmighoul will get knocked out. Gonna increase my attack with Kirin. So I'm dealing 130 damage to their Gholdengo. And discard their Iono. Yeah, there's no other way they can draw except for Greninja and also Gholdengo, but it's still a very powerful draw option. But their hand or their deck is limited. They have 7 cards left in their deck. They're going to use Superior Energy Retrieval, getting them 4 energies from their discard pile back to their hand. But again, that's still not enough to knock out our Luxray EX. If they discard 1 card to use Greninja, they're going to be limited still in those energies. But they're going to use Prime Catcher to get a Rotom V and deal enough damage to knock it out, putting in the Lost Zone. Alright, that was a good play. Alright, Prime Catcher, very nice. Since we're behind on prizes, we can actually use Counter Catcher. We can knock out their Radiant Greninja. We can use Alakazam to transfer damage to their Palkia, knocking it out, getting 2 prizes. And guess what, guys? That's it. That's gonna be game. We just have to retreat to our Luxray EX. Since we're hitting for weakness, we're dealing 200 damage to their Radiant Greninja, knocking it out. Let's get rid of that. And that's gonna get us our last prize to win us the game. There you have it. Luxray EX is so awesome. This is amazing, guys. Wow, what a good game. Alright, on to our last match. We won the coin flip this time. We are going first. And we're gonna start with Shinx in the active spot. We have a pretty good opening hand here. We got Rare Candy, Arven, Pidgeot EX. Probably use Ultra Ball actually to start setting up my Pidgey. I think I'll do that. Let's go ahead and discard these 2. For the sake of setting up like as soon as possible, I'll have to sacrifice as much as I can so we can do that. And then I'm just gonna end my turn. So we're going against Raging Bolt EX. This is my first time facing off against this one, so I don't know how we can win. I'm guessing I could probably just discard as much of their Professor Sada's Vitality so that they don't energize. Anyways, that's my goal, but this is a bad predicament because we only have 2 Pokemon in play, and my opponent going second is actually a bad thing for us too, since they can attack, and it's a really high probability that they can fully energize their Raging Bolt EX and get a knockout this turn. So they've already used up their Squawkabilly EX's ability. You can only use that on their first turn. Discard their hand, draw 6. They already have Radiant Greninja in play, and they have 3 Raging Bolt EX in play. I don't know if that's a good board state, because usually by this time a lot of players would have set up their Ogerpon. Speaking of, usually they have 2 Ogerpon in play, but having 3 attackers is a bit too much, I think. Hopefully they don't get to set up here. Nice! We do survive a turn. With that grass energy on Raging Bolt, it's not going to be enough to attack anyways. They need lightning and fighting. So we get to evolve into Pidgeot EX. We can use Arven to possibly grab Rare Candy, and I don't know if Forest Seal Stone is going to be helpful here. But we'll grab it anyways. We have the energy. So what we could do is just get Luxray EX. We have Rare Candy. We can't use Forest Seal Stone just yet, but still we can attack with Luxray EX. Hopefully disrupt their hand here and prevent them from setting up. So they got Earthen Vessel, Pokestop, Bravery Charm. I think Earthen Vessel? Well, Pokestop I think is the best option. I mean, Earthen Vessel gets them more cards, but still, because they don't have a lot of Ogerpon EX, they can't really draw a lot of cards. So at least that limits them from getting the item cards that they might need. Maybe Pokegear 3.0, because that could help them get a support card, right? So just gotta make sure we can keep count of how many Professor Sada they have in the discard pile. So they have 1 so far. We're gonna use Earthen Vessel. Earthen Vessel does get them the required energy for Raging Bolt though. And they got Pokegear regardless. Alright, pretty good. Yeah, Radiant Greninja is so good, man. It still stands as the best Radiant Pokemon that ever come out. Just discard 1 energy card, draw 2. It can get you whatever card you need. It's insane. But still, with... I was gonna say with no lightning energy, but there it is. With enough energies in play, they actually have the potential here to knock out our Luxray EX. And with no backup attacker, we're we're looking really bad. But at least they had discard all their cards in play, so maybe that will afford us another turn. What I could do is grab the Unfair Stamp, and hopefully we will have time to set up another Luxray EX. But for now, I'll get Luxray V powered up. You can even use the Forest Seal Stone on it. And I'm going to grab Unfair Stamp with Arven and Rescue Board in case we need to retreat. But we're going to use Unfair Stamp anyways. And Rescue Board comes back. That's fine. That's perfectly fine. Alright. Thankfully, we got Buddy Buddy Poffin, so we can set up 2 more Shinx. And with enough energies in their discard pile, recovering it will be a little bit difficult for them. So I'm going to go ahead and retreat. And I'm going to use Star Alchemy now. That way we don't lose it in case my opponent knocks out my Luxray V. Get a Rare Candy. And then all we have to do is grab Luxray EX. Just going to use Fang Snipe for now. And I mean, Carmi draws them extra card, but Professor Sada is still the #1 support card that they'll be using. So with that, we're nowhere near knocking out this Raging Bolt. What can we do to win this game? Well, if we get rid of all their Turo, if we get rid of all of their recovery cards, we might be able to win this one, and then just wait for them to deck out. Alright, so they don't get to attack. That's perfect. You can even use Lost Vacuum to get rid of their Bravery Charm. Even take a knockout, to be honest with you. I'm gonna go ahead and use Quick Search. Get Luxray. Rare Candy to evolve. And then Oh boy. Might as well use Roseanne's backup. Recover these two. And Fang Snipe. Yeah, there's really not much I can do here. Okay, Professor Sada's Vitality goes into the discard pile. So we've taken out at least 3. But... oh no, 4 of them are in the discard pile. Yo, that's good. They have enough energies on their Raging Bolt to attack though. They can discard 3 and that's enough to knock out our Luxray. But that's fine. You know what? That's fine. Since we recovered the double turbo energy, we can power up Luxray EX and keep attacking this turn. Alright. We'll attach the rescue board on Tatsugiri so we can easily retreat it. And then I can use double turbo energy. Attach it to this guy. And then 100 damage. It still has so much HP, man. Okay. Let's go ahead and remove this. Maybe we can take a knockout. It's not gonna be enough to knock it out, but still. Use attract customers. We got judge. I could judge them. Yeah. Limit their hand to 4. And then when we use Luxray, maybe that's gonna slow them down a little bit. I'm gonna use Palpad, recover Roxanne, so we have further recovery options next few turns. Buddy Buddy Poffin, put Manaphy into play, retreats, and then we're gonna use Piercing Gaze. And let's see what we can discard here. Penny? I think the energy is the best option. I'm just limiting my I'm just limiting my opponent's options here as much as I can. They can remove their Raging Bolt, but with no energies, they can't attack. They can't draw with Ogre Pawn. So it doesn't matter. I don't really care if they use Penny. And they fail. Nice. They fail with that Pokemon Catcher. They use Penny. Remove Raging Bolt EX. And that's fine with me. We're just going to slowly keep attacking my opponent. Disrupt their hand as much as possible. They're going to Burst Roar to just draw extra cards. Alright. That's fine. Can evolve into another Luxray EX. They only need 2 more prizes though. So if they can get a knockout, that's where we will we'll lose this game. But for now, I'm just going to use Iono. Limit their hand to 2. And then we can use Piercing Gaze. Deal 100. And Boss's Orders. But just keep that energy. Remove that energy. Even if they boss one of our Pokemon in the active, we have Kirin. We have Penny as options to remove our Pokemon from play. And my opponent cannot stall. As long as we can prevent them from energizing their Raging Bolt, we should be fine. They're gonna boss my Luxray EX. Burst Roar again. We got Mist Energy. Alright. Another option that we have actually is to use our Wellspring Ogre Pawn to trap their one of their Pokemon in the active spot. We go ahead and use Counter Catcher. Get this Radiant Greninja into the active spots. I will sacrifice Mist Energy to retreat. I'll take out this Radiant Greninja because it's very annoying. It just gets them extra cards every turn. Use Iono. And then Piercing Gaze will knock out their Radiant Greninja. And Earthen Vessel, yeah. Put their Radiant Greninja in the Lost Zone. And we got Hand Trimmer. Alright, cool. So, can they attack? Even if they attack with just 1 energy, it's not going to be enough to knock out our Luxray EX. Because all of their Turo, or their Sada, Professor Sada is in the discard pile, so they can't really energize Raging Bolt. They will use Super Rod to recover energies, though, and they're going to use Iono. And the good thing about this matchup, though, is that each time they attack, they have to discard those energies. So I'm alright with that. I'm alright with that. We can remove the recovery. we're gonna be good. And they're down to 2 cards in their deck, guys. And that's a good thing. Guys. Without any other switching options, we could possibly win this. Hand Trimmer can help us. They can discard 1 extra card from their hand. And then we can use Ogerpon EX powered up. Let's go ahead and use Hand Trimmer. What will they discard? They discard Nest Ball. We also get to discard 1. We don't need Rotom V. And it could counter catcher their I'll just attack for now. Piercing Gaze. Prime Catcher. Yo, Prime Catcher. They need Lightning Energy. I'll just get rid of the Lightning Energy, guys. I'll just get rid of the Lightning Energy. I don't know if they have any more recovery items in this deck. But what we could do is use Counter Catcher, trap their Squawkabilly EX with 1 card left in their deck. If they can't recover anything, Ogerpon EX can just trap them in the active spot until they deck out, and we're gonna win this. We're not taking prizes as much as my opponent is able to do, but with enough planning and with enough strategy and with enough disruption, anything is possible with this deck, guys. Raging Bolt EX is a very powerful deck to go against, but hey, here we are winning this match. Okay, they lost Vacuum my rescue board, but that's fine. Prime Catcher, putting my Ogerpon EX in the active spot, and that's actually what we need. If they cannot attack anyways, we're safe. And all we need is an energy. So we're gonna go ahead and use Pidgeot EX. Quick search this double turbo energy. And actually, if they have a lightning energy, they could still win this. So just to be safe, we're gonna use Counter Catcher to get Squawkabilly EX, trap it in the active, and if they can't power it up, we win this game. With no more cards left in the deck, what can my opponent do? What can my opponent do? They had the lightning energy. That's insane. Yo, they could have actually knocked out my Ogerpon EX to win the game, but no. Thankfully, we made that Counter Catcher move to secure our win here with Ogerpon EX, trapping their Squawkabilly in the active spot. And hey, that was a pretty good game. Very close game. My opponent could have had a clutch win, but you know what? We're just gonna end our turn. And that's gonna leave my opponent decking out. Wow, amazing game. And that's it for the video. Thank you all so much for watching the Popsicleknight channel. And until next time, please stay safe and have a great day.